Hello, everybody. This is Zero to Hero, where everyday Canadians are getting ahead with real estate. This is the show where we dive into the success stories of several real-world investors. We dive into the strategies that help take their business to the next level. You get to know the who, learn the how to get what you need to succeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I got a special guest for you. He hails in the province of Ontario, and I'm so excited because you already know how I bring the fire with these guests. Our goal is to help you be able to take golden nuggets from today's show so that you can impact your journey, impact those around you, and be able to set yourself up for success in the future, where your future self will thank your present self. And so today I got Ben Boileau. I got to tell you, he is a dedicated husband. He's a dedicated son and a dedicated sibling, an all-around family man. He also is on the constant path of improving his long-term health and wealth. And I'll tell you why I bring him on, because he has a spirit of creating win-wins in his partnerships, because he always believes in having mutual benefits. And so, Ben, I'm so glad to bring you on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Daniel.
Oh, man, the pleasure's all mine. I'm ready to rock and roll. And so I do got some questions for you, man, because I think if people got to know your story a little bit, they will come to realize that it's not about where you were born or who you are, what you've been. It really comes down to what you do and to get what you have. And so, Ben, I wanted to ask you, you're in real estate, like many of your listeners who are listening to this podcast. How did you get into real estate, and why real estate?
So, in terms of opportunities that were available for growing my income, real estate presented itself to me as the greatest, most available to somebody that didn't come from a background of wealth or didn't have assets on hand. I started out doing a property management. I started a company in university just because I saw a lot of for rent signs that were up. So I saw an opportunity there. And I kind of been continuing along that path for now over about 9 years. Overall, like, real estate has afforded a number of different opportunities for me, both on renting, helping other people rent, as well as building equity in property, buy and holds. And for me, it's just a last vestige of or the free market that's available for the common person to build wealth.
That's a really, really good point. And I'm really glad that you brought up that background, because I want everybody to recognize, no matter how many guests I bring on here, no matter how many stories you hear, everybody's story is different, but the results that we all want are the same. And what's going to take it to get there is the decisions that we make from level zero all the way to where we want to accomplish. And so let me ask you this. In the beginning, like many of us, we have different limiting beliefs. We have struggles in our mind that tell us why we can't do anything successful in real estate investing. In your journey and in your particular context, what were the limiting beliefs that you dealt with?
Well, there are certainly limiting beliefs in terms of what I thought was possible in terms of capital. So I thought that you had to save up a whole bunch of money in order to get involved in real estate, in order to make money. But then on the other side too, there is also a limiting belief that you can do everything before learning how to walk. So I would say overconfidence and under knowledge are two limiting factors in a person's initial success as a real estate investor.
That's really interesting. Overconfidence and you said lack of knowledge. Is that right?
Yeah, well, lack of knowledge about, say, for instance, the ability to continue to leverage real estate, leverage debt to increase your holdings, right? Right. We're all taught growing up, debt is bad. Try to increase your equity in anything that you have. It's a limiting mindset, because essentially what it's going to do is cut the legs out from under you to be able to continue to acquire more assets. So on the one side, that was a limiting belief that minimized my ability to continue to build wealth. But on the other, it is also overconfidence that has led me into things that I wish I could pedal backwards sometimes.
So what's an example of something that if you could have pedaled back or maybe not have pursued that at that time, what's an example of what that would look like?
Okay, so I'd say the first house that I bought, I did it on the advice of my uncle. And he made the recommendation because he said, look, property values are increasing 30% per year. Your house is going to be worth $100,000 more next year if you buy it now. So I followed his advice. He sold me a house, and then it dropped in value by about $120,000 within about 4 months of buying it.
Whoa, wait, hold on a second. It dropped over 140,000 within 4 months, you said?
120,000 over 4 months. Yeah.
120,000. Right. Wow.
And
So
it
it was
took a
the
while to
exact
recover.
opposite.
Sorry?
It was the exact opposite of pretty much what you're hoping for.
Well, right. There, I think a lot of the limiting belief is that is based off of the idea that everybody's opinion is valuable. It isn't. There's a lot of information you need to acquire in order to make the best decisions for yourself. And sometimes, a belief in your ability to draw conclusions will lead to a higher result. I can say the same thing about other examples of things that I would backpedal even this year. So in some real estate opportunities that I took on, I relied too heavily on the opinions of a couple of realtors and a couple of contractors. When now that I know better, I would be able to properly assess those without having to rely so much on the opinions of others.
Wow, this is beautiful to understand and to learn because, for those who, let's say, taking action isn't exactly an issue with you, this is definitely some golden nuggets I can really learn and understand. Hey, these are the pitfalls when you just go ahead and just take anyone's word and just say, hey, just because they own a piece of real estate, they know all that has to do with real estate investing, which is not the case. And that just goes with any subject. You want to make sure that you're listening to people who have done what you're looking to do, and even better, that are doing what you are looking to do. And it's not their first go round as well. And so, yeah, that's definitely super, super helpful. So what strategies do you focus on today, and why do you do that?
So this past year, what my initial goal was to build up a real estate holding of several buy and holds where I could utilize the BRRRR strategy. That's my preferred method because real estate in general never goes down. Even the house that I lost that 120,000 on within 4 months, we're now 250,000 up from where we bought it. So buy and hold to me makes the most sense. The way that things swung this year, it turns out that I had to sell off a couple assets that I had acquired early on or partnered on some opportunities. So a little bit more flips. And I know that there's an appetite for flips, especially in Southern Ontario, and that probably makes a lot more sense for those markets. But buy and hold for me is definitely my preferred strategy.
Now, I want to ask you about the shiny object syndrome because many times as you look to do buy and hold in a hot market, you see a lot of people doing these active strategies. And I'm not saying BRRRR's not an active strategy. It definitely is. You got to manage, you got to make sure everything's on time, on budget, just like many other real estate strategies. But I'm talking about Airbnb, flipping, student rentals, your wholesaling. A lot of these different people are doing these strategies in a hot market. And look, man, I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm seeing a lot of people make bank. And so do you struggle with that shiny object syndrome, or are you laser focused? You know what you want, and that you're not letting that shake you?
Well, that's a really good point because I'd say that shiny object syndrome was a factor in where I got into some deals that I didn't have the same level of knowledge as I do from my core business model. So as a property manager, as somebody who's had 9 years of renting properties out, that's what I know. And so, yeah, I would say that shiny object syndrome, based off of what appeared to be opportunities that I had to jump on, perhaps played a part in some areas that I certainly would have made some changes if I could go backwards in time. And it actually, as you're saying it right now, it's really just highlighting, if there's something that and something that you've spent a lot of time investigating and understanding, trust your gut. That should be where you build on. And I'm taking that question actually as advice, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that myself.
No, that's powerful. It really just goes to show you have to have a certain level of discipline and or learning to really make the wise decisions in when everybody else looks like they're winning, everybody else looks like, they got the right strategy going on. You got to know what your strengths are and stick to your strengths. Bet on yourself by understanding your unique ability and knowing how to build down that skill set. Definitely really, really important. So let me ask you this. How long have you been investing in real estate now?
So, well, I bought my first house in 2017. I've been doing buy, hold, fix up for the greater part of 3 years. And I got much more active this year, more than anything. 2021, I did like 4 times more deals than any other year.
4 times more deals than any other year. So if I'm looking at the Ben from 2017, the one who bought his first property, and the one I'm talking to right now on this podcast, what's the difference between those two individuals?
Right now, a lot of it is better understanding of what goes into renovation expenses, how to validate ARV upfront, understanding the importance of pre-inspections and how to correlate those two timelines and renovation expenses, understanding the importance of having robust relationships with a team that can get things done. If you're dealing with a one-off project, there's a lot more time that you allocate to it. But if you want to hit fire and you want to knock off 9 deals in a year, a lot of the pieces of the puzzle need to fall into place all at the same time. So that's really what I learned, is the importance of having a very solid, trustworthy team.
And so let's say you're talking to someone who's looking to get into real estate. They want to get going. They're eager. They want to take action. The analysis paralysis is not their problem, right? But they need to listen to people like you. They need to really understand what their strengths are and what their lane is, what their goal is, and identify the shiny objects and divert away from them. But when it comes to getting a smart team around you, or a team that's going to set you up for success, what would you say are some of the key ingredients, or the key individuals rather, to really putting that together?
You know what? Actually, I mean, what I would think is a really good, safe first step is first invest directly beside somebody who you know is successful in doing it. That's the recommendation I would have for anybody starting out. Let somebody actually lead you through the hand. Somebody who's doing it already, jump on boards. If they need funding, if they need somebody to delegate tasks to, that's some value that you can offer, but use that as kind of your internship to gain the experience necessary to do the job well. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? And the best way to learn those unknowns is to go through the process with, let's say, a mentor or somebody who really has a strong track record, and learn from them. Learn from them. What are the pitfalls? What are the things to avoid? You're never going to run out of surprises or things that you'll learn along your journey of real estate investing. But let's get the big ones out of the way, and let's learn in context, along with somebody who can really has a track record of knocking things out of the park, so you can learn what they consider and what they would do.
Getting around like-minded individuals and getting around those who are smarter than you, go faster than you, that are bigger than you, only makes you that much better, because you're the average of the 5 closest people you're around. And if you're around people who are dumber than you, who are slower than you, who don't have the same goals as you, who are doing everything that is more of a distraction rather than a push toward your goals, guess who's going to be number 6, right? And so the truth is, you got to take these golden nuggets and really apply it, because nothing happens in our life if we're not listening and then doing, right? So now, before I let you go, Ben, I definitely got to ask you just one more question here. So what would you tell listeners who are listening right now? They haven't started, they want to, maybe they're experiencing some limiting beliefs, maybe they're eager to take action, maybe they're not. What is one thing that you would say? Let's say they haven't started yet. What's the first immediate thing? The book? Is it getting around that individual that you just said? Or how would you encourage them to know, hey, it's possible, you can do it? Ben wasn't able to do it just because he got a head start or anything like that. There's nothing special. What would you say to him? What would you say to that person listening right now?
Well, what I would say is align yourself with people who have that drive and that motivation to keep pushing forwards, right? And I mean, if you're the type of person that suffers more from analysis paralysis, align yourself with somebody who's a little bit more driven and wants to hit off 10 deals in a year, or 20 or 30 or 50. Right now, ideally, you want to make sure that you have an equal balance between that and somebody who knows how to get the job done. So maybe you're a person that can counterbalance that person and can add that extra value. If you're on the other side, make sure that you do have that person. But what I would say is, if you're looking to get started and you want to get into the market, know that no matter what you do, everything's going to be worth it in the end, because law of averages, even if you do screw up, you're going to learn from that and you're only going to get better. Right. So I would say proceed with caution, but also don't sell yourself short, because even when you do make mistakes, you'll learn from them and you'll be that much better next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Boileau, I hope you have learned something phenomenal. I definitely did. And I really, really hope that you really took the information that he applied, the information that he just mentioned, because here's the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Boileau just gave us a masterclass on how to get into real estate. It doesn't matter. See, here's the thing I want everybody to recognize. Even though he's doing burrs, this wasn't about doing burrs. This wasn't about doing flipping or wholesaling or any type of strategy. It was about getting into real estate. And the reality is, everyone and anyone can get into real estate if they follow the steps that Ben literally just mentioned. Get around the right people. You definitely make sure you're taking advice and counsel from those who have practiced the things that they are saying and have given to you, and definitely keep going. Law of averages is a real thing. Even if you make mistakes, just keep going. You would definitely not only come out on top if you continue to strive for better and you continue to strive to improve, but you will absolutely win if you continue to surround yourself with others who are doing the same thing. And so, Ben, I want to thank you so much for being on today. This has been Zero to Hero. I hope you took something out of it. Be sure to take action so that you can get results just like our guest that you've listened to today. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and we'll see you on the next one.